This is the Vaguely Nerdy Podcast, where each week this brother-sister duo gets together to discuss the box office, our latest film and TV scoops, our latest movie or show review, and what we're getting into next. We're your host,
Cheryl.
And I am Vampire from Brooklyn.
You do look just like that man.
I'm Jay.
You just like that man. All right, so this week, if Jay's emoji is not any indication, we watched Nosferatu this week, and I'm on deck for trivia. Are you ready? Is your mind right?
Yes.
Okay, so before Bill Skarsgård was selected to play Nosferatu, there were two other actors that were also they were considering to play. One of them is, I lost my note that fast because I was trying. Okay, one of them is Daniel Day-Lewis.
Okay.
And the other, you got to guess. Now, I'm going to use some hints.
Daniel Day-Lewis is not like he's a good actor, but I don't think he's done like that type of role. Like a get up and makeup.
Yeah, that would have been different.
Okay.
That would have been different. The other person is also pretty popular. He's older than Bill Skarsgård, though. And that's all I'm going to say. He's a white guy. And
Ralph Fiennes?
Nope. But you close. You in the same area.
Benedict Cumberbatch?
No, but still in the right area. I don't want to say nothing else.
British.
They are not American.
Okay. Who could play Nosferatu older than Bill Skarsgård, who's like, what, 35?
He's okay. He's more like probably the Ralph Fiennes and who else? Daniel Day-Lewis age range, I think. I'm guessing. I actually don't know. But they all look like they're about the same age.
Killian?
Oh, nope. You're going backwards.
Oh.
Okay.
Younger backwards or?
You need to go older.
Older.
Mm-hmm.
Not Benedict Cumberbatch.
Okay, let me give you another clue.
Okay.
They also have had a movie come out recently. In the theaters.
That doesn't help. Mads Mikkelsen?
Ding, 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 ding.
Really?
Ding.
Oh.
I was like, I didn't want to say like he's played a villain because you would have immediately said Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
There was
I could see Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah, there doesn't say why they decided not to go with them, but also another tidbit, Bill was actually going to play Thomas first. That was his original role that he was cast as, was playing Thomas, and then they decided to flip him to play Count Orlok.
Giving him the Count Orlok role makes sense.
Yeah.
Because he's Pennywise. We just said he's a good like get up and make up
and
totally
he does very good in
character
this.
actor.
Surprise.
I could have seen him as Thomas.
I could have, but I feel like
Nicholas Hoult did a great job.
Yeah.
But I could have seen him as
Thomas. I could have seen him, but I feel like his greatest potential was as the Count.
Yeah. No,
for sure.
Everybody was in the right position.
Correct.
It would have been interesting to see Mads Mikkelsen though.
He would have done. I feel
he
like
would have done great.
Good. Yeah. Although I wonder he would have done the voice too, because Bill said he did a lot of work to get that voice right. I wonder if Mads like, I'm sound like Mads.
Yeah,
and
maybe not. It probably would have just sounded like Mads Mikkelsen,
which would have worked though, because Mads got that voice.
Yeah.
A voice, I should say, that kind of can be different things.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So,
interesting. So that is our trivia for this week. Let's get into the episode.
Welcome, fellow movie buffs. I'm Jay.
I'm Cheryl.
Listen in as we break down movie and TV shows, tell you what's in the plot, and hear if we think you should have watched it when you had the chance.
Dun, dun, dun. All right, so we have two movie announcements. One movie we've already talked about, but now we got more details about it. The trailer park is full of teasers. Not actual trailers, which I mean, whatever. It's cars there. They just like Mini Coopers. And then we have 2 bites of BUNCHA CRUNCH. One is kind of significant. And then one is just a fun little casting news. So let's start off at the top. Disney doing more remakes. Surprise! This one is for Treasure Island, which is going to come, like I just said, under Disney. It's coming from the co-writer/directors Tyler Nilson and Michael Schwartz, known for a movie called Peter Butter Falcon, which I have not seen and or heard of prior to this news. But apparently it's about a guy with Down syndrome, and one of his friends bust him out of the facility that he's in and like take him on. It's like a take him on like to like live his life situation.
This is what Treasure Island is about?
No, this is with the peanut butter.
I was about to
This
say.
is what the director's Peanut Butter Falcon movie is about. But it was really well received. So I had heard them before. I looked up the Peanut Butter Falcon movie, and they don't even have a Wikipedia page to click. Okay. So I was just kind of like, okay. But the OG Treasure Island, which I will admit I have never seen.
Nope.
Okay. It is a coming of age story about pirates and gold. So
Yeah, I mean, it's in the...
It's Peter... I guess it's not Peter Pan, because Peter Pan is mystical.
I've seen the Muppets Treasure Island.
Okay.
I think it's the same. I think it's based on this, because all Muppet stuff is a parody off of something that exists already.
Was the Muppets Treasure Island good?
It's cute. It's Muppets. I mean, it wasn't thrilling.
What's interesting about this version of Treasure Island is, and I don't think it's been like green lit. That's the term nowadays. I don't think they've like put this into production yet. We don't have casting news or dates or anything like that. It's something that they're shopping with Disney. This version is going to be described as an Australian surfer version of the movie, which makes me wonder, why would you call it? You know what it sounds like? What's the movie where Keanu Reeves plays an undercover surfer?
Point Break?
Point Break. No.
There wasn't no treasure in that. But, I mean that's a weird way to describ this. A surfer version? What exactly does that mean?
I don't know. But
Is it supposed to take place in present day?
Probably. Or, I mean, you could have a surfer movie at any point in time. But I wonder what's going to be like the gold, what's the treasure of the Treasure Island in this, if they surface.
It'll probably be modern day.
So what?
People stumbling upon an island.
Oh, with stuff on it.
Yeah.
Okay, like
probably like a little bit of Indiana Jones, a little bit of Pirated
relics.
Caribbean.
Okay, so maybe it is based in the past, and they stumble upon like relics. So it's Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Not Point Break.
Yeah, like Tomb Raider and actually, the first Tomb Raider was present day. They shipwrecked on an island where treasure and spirits, but I mean, they can cut the spirits out and keep the treasure part.
Right. Yeah. Treasure Island is beloved. So I'm sure this news will not be well received by most people.
This came out in 1950.
Oh, that's pretty old.
Yeah.
What's older, this or Chitty Chitty Bang Bang?
This looks older than Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and it is. It came out in 1968. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. So it's 18 years
so this
older.
is older than Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
At first, I thought this was Treasure Planet, which made me more excited. But
people, when I was doing my little Googles on this, people were like, well, why not do Treasure Planet?
Yeah, people love Treasure Planet.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. We'll see if this actually comes to light.
Which I think is the same.
Okay.
I think Treasure Planet is just an updated version of Treasure Island.
Now, a lot of people said that this is Treasure Island is also, what's the show out now with the kids? Star Wars, Skeleton Crew.
Treasure Planet is Skeleton Crew?
No, Skeleton Crew is Treasure Island.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Skeleton Crew yet, but so looking up Treasure Planet, it says it's the third Disney adaptation of the novel Treasure Island from 1950.
Oh, okay.
And so Muppets Treasure Island. So I was right. Muppets Treasure Island is a parody.
Okay.
The film settings, spaceships are powered by solar cells resembling the 18th century sailing vessels of the original Treasure Island. So this will be the fourth, I guess,
adaptation. I actually think Treasure Planet might work better. Now that you described.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Treasure Planet was the modern reboot, and now they're going back to the original recipe, Treasure Island. That's fine.
Australian surfers.
I like Pirates of the Caribbean. I like pirate stuff.
Okay, and we don't have a lot of pirate stuff.
Not anymore.
Currently.
They're probably trying to get this out. Well, no, that doesn't make sense. It would make sense them pushing this out before Pirates because it's Disney, but this is also Disney. So
Disney will put out two things at the same year and be like, but they different, y'all.
I like pirate stuff.
Yeah.
East Indian Trading Company. So
that first Pirates trilogy is platinum in my household.
If Disney still has the magic to make a good pirate movie on the same scale as the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Not the
I actually would rather take something like this than take a reboot of Pirates because you're not getting that back.
Yeah, because it's Pirates, but it's different.
Exactly. Versus trying to reboot.
Trying to recapture the magic of that story.
Yeah.
Just tell a different story. So, cool.
We'll know more about as we learn more about it. We'll let you guys know. Like I said, this is in super early development, and Disney might be like, actually, do Treasure Planet instead. Next up on our list, we've talked about this casting news. We get casting news about this almost every week, but not as much as Scream. Almost. Christopher Nolan's movie that's got all the popular people in it. Well, now we have an actual title and what the movie going to be about.
Yeah.
It is going to be The Odyssey. That's the movie. That's what it's going to
Yeah.
be about. It'll be an adaptation of the Homer poem that came out around the 18th century BC. If you don't know what the Odyssey is, Google it. Everybody knows what the Odyssey is.
Clearly not. Did you see the discourse online about this?
No, people just was like,
God.
"What's this?"
So apparently,
Excuse
having been taught the Odyssey in school is a sign of
privilege,
upper echelon education, which is weird.
Now,
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
A lot of people were like, "Oh, the only way you know about the Odyssey is if you like went to a school that had money because nobody could afford to."
No. Now, did you have to read the Odyssey in school?
No, we had to read the Iliad in high school.
Okay, we had to watch the movie.
Yeah, so
there it is.
That's what I wanted to say because there was a lot of conversation online about if you know what the Odyssey is, you were elitist because that wasn't something that was available in public schools.
We went to
We went to middle to lower class public schools.
Yeah, I mean they was cool schools.
Yeah, they was great middle schools.
We wasn't putting out no cash.
They were public schools, and we did not have the Odyssey book.
But yeah, we didn't get the book, but we had to watch the movie.
What you and I know is that what the school lacked in public book funding, teacher would go into that closet, wheel out that big fat TV on a cart, and stick a VHS tape in it, and we would watch whatever we. Yeah,
so even if you hadn't read the book, other people got introduced to it in different means. So people not knowing what it is, you just say you didn't bother to Google it first to be like, because you at least know what like. I don't know. You know what the Trojan War is?
Greek mythology, I think, is...
Greek mythology,
Greek mythology is probably the thing that I remember the most from school. That's when I really got interested in, like, history and social studies. Okay. It's like Greek mythology. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I know what the Odyssey is.
Yeah, so if you don't... I'm going to tell you one line of what it's about. It tells the story of Odysseus on his 10-year trip home from the Trojan War. So, the Trojan War, Achilles, all that is before this. And this is how he can't get back home quickly because I think he's cursed or something.
Well, he's so far away.
Okay.
Yeah, it takes so long to get back.
Okay, and then and then also he runs into a bunch of trials and tribulations on his way home, which is basically the Odyssey.
Yeah, so I think it's both. I think they're so far because they had to travel forever. And I believe the survivors were because I think did they lose?
The details are fuzzy, but it does take him a long time. Yeah. One, because travel back then, you couldn't just hop in your car and go home. Right. But also, I think that it's the Greek mythology, right? Yeah. So there's stuff happening and people getting cursed and all that jazz. So the Odyssey is about all the crap he run into and his people run into trying to get back home.
Yeah, it's an adventure.
It is a big old adventure. Yeah. So this is described as an epic scale movie. So we thinking budget. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking fantastical. I'm thinking Christopher Nolan gonna grow a monster, and so he can have a practical monsters instead of CGI monsters. No, I'm just playing y'all. But the story includes Cyclops, the Sirens, Circe, and then his reunion with his wife Penelope. So people are trying to figure out who is who in terms of casting. So just to run the casting list back, we got Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Anne Hathaway, Zendaya, Robert Pattinson, Lupita Nyong'o, and Charlize Theron. I have no idea who is who.
That makes sense.
I think Matt Damon will be lead. Maybe.
So it's sounding like either we had some theories. Mm-hmm. So because it's supposed to cover 10 years. Right. So we had a theory that either Matt Damon is the lead and Tom Holland plays the son because he does have a son.
He does have a son. Yep.
Or maybe Tom Holland ages up into Matt Damon over the course of the journey.
That's kind of far apart. I'm going with father-son.
I think it's going to be
father-son. Anne Hathaway maybe plays Penelope, the wife.
I don't know. There's so many female villains in the Odyssey. There's also there's the Sirens. There's Circe.
And there's no guarantee they even gonna have the wife in this. So, who knows? Yeah, I'm assuming he's not gonna change the plot of the Odyssey. And he's gonna keep that the same. But there's no guarantee that Christopher Nolan's gonna put the wife in this. Yeah. Well, it's gonna be epic. Is a good word for it.
I'm excited. It's fantastical.
It is.
That's exactly what I said I wanted from Christopher Nolan.
What we wanted.
I did not want
vampire helicopter cops.
I mean, it would have been fantastical. I didn't want anything regular.
You're right.
Christopher Nolan.
We just had regular.
Oppenheimer was great. Yeah. Historical. Mm-hmm. Context.
Regular.
Time to get back into the freakiness.
Grounded.
In the weird.
Right.
I want to see some Cyclops. I think this will be the most fantastical thing I've seen him do.
Absolutely.
Because this is completely not based on Earth. The rest of his stuff is at least
and I
based on
hope he
reality.
like takes it there. Right?
Yeah,
I hope
yeah.
he don't keep it like Batman, where Batman was grounded and everybody looked normal. No.
You got your Oscar.
You got your money.
It's time to. You can now do everything you want to do. Get weird.
Budget.
Yeah, it probably won't be CGI. A lot of people were saying like, he's very anti CGI. I don't think he's anti CGI, but I think he likes to do everything as practical as possible.
Right. I mean, they use CGI to like clean stuff up or put stuff together,
Yeah.
but he's not gonna have the monster. Probably gonna be like a small scale.
It'll be a miniature.
There it is.
Yeah, I'd see Christopher Nolan doing a lot of miniatures.
A lot of miniatures versus being just a full CGI situation. That's just up his alley. So.
Yeah.
This is coming out. I forgot to put the date on this, but this is 2026. So we got a little out July 2026 because Spider-Man is like 2 weeks after this.
Yeah.
And I think Spider-Man, I'm still sticking up. Spider-Man might be moving. This is very exciting. This will be a summer blockbuster for sure. And if it makes $1 billion, I would not be surprised. He was very close with Oppenheimer. I think this is the one that'll take it over the edge.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. All right. That is it for our news. Hit it. What do you say next?
Now it's time to roll into the trailer park.
Toot toot. BB.
First trailer we have is for Love Me. This is a teaser. It is going to be starring Kristen Stewart and Stephen Yeun. Kristen Stewart we know from Twilight.
Yep.
And a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yes.
She was in Snow White and the Huntsman.
Yeah.
She was in the Charlie's Angels.
She's been doing more independent
reboot.
stuff
She's
lately.
been doing more, smaller independent stuff. She just had that. She just had that film come out.
I was gonna try to think of it, but I don't know what it is.
With
Which
Love Lies Bleeding.
Yes.
I was gonna say Love Lies Dying with Katie O'Brien, who
Yes.
we also like. Stephen Yeun, who we see in Invincible.
Yep. Also
And
Beef season 1
Beef and Glenn. He was Glenn
from
in The
Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is supposed to be a sci-fi romance that follows the love story between a satellite and a buoy.
Literally a satellite
Yeah.
and a buoy. So the teaser is of the satellite. It looks like I'm assuming talking to the buoy, and it's showing different clips of Earth and all that different jazz. And then it pans out to the buoy, which is sitting in the middle of the ocean, and it's just beep, 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 beeping. And I was like, how is this gonna work?
Yeah.
It was 45 seconds. So when we say teaser, and not like the Superman teaser, this was literally less than a minute.
I wasn't a fan of the trailer.
Okay.
It was different. I won't rule it out only because I've seen her. And if I had not seen her, I don't think that this would have worked.
Okay.
But I watched her, which was about Joaquin Phoenix falling in love with Scarlett Johansson, who was basically a Palm Pilot.
Right.
And she was never in the movie. She just did voice work through it.
But Joaquin Phoenix was a human.
I mean, but the rest of them are humans. That's also true. The
Yeah.
rest of the film was filled with humans.
So I wonder if we just gonna be with the satellite and the buoy the whole time.
I won't rule it out, but I think I want to see another trailer first.
I need a full trailer because I want to
Yeah.
know what else I'm looking at
Yeah.
this whole time.
Yeah.
And it's probably gonna end sad where they both get turned off or something.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like that.
That's not how her ended. Her ended a lot happier, but
Okay.
they did basically go away.
I mean, he can't live like that, so that makes sense.
Yeah. So
These two objects. So.
this comes out January 31st, 2025. I feel like they're just throwing this out. I think this is probably going to get a limited release because they just announced this week, and it's coming out in less than a month.
It's probably definitely indie.
Yeah.
Couple hundred theaters. Maybe right before Oscars. I don't know.
I'll keep an eye on it, but I wasn't a fan of the trailer. I think the concept is interesting and different. I don't know if everybody else will be interested in this because we're in a very AI gray area. I don't know if people are ready to watch two robots fall in love instead of actual people.
And buoys don't typically talk either, so I don't.
Yeah,
well, neither do satellites. I'm tripping.
Are buoys electronic? Ocean buoys?
This one in the trailer looks like it. Like it beeps, and it like has lights on it.
And it doesn't seem futuristic. It seems like a regular satellite. So
correct.
Maybe I don't know a lot about
We need another
buoys.
trailer.
Yeah, I need another trailer.
I need more about buoys.
I need to do my buoy research.
Right.
Next stop we have on the trailer park is for a revisit. This is a teaser as a follow-up to a trailer we previously talked about for Sinners. This comes out April 18th, 2025, which is a new date.
Yeah.
What was the previous one?
March 17th.
Gotcha.
Oh, I'm sorry, just March 7th.
So this is going to star Michael B. Jordan in two roles, playing twin brothers. people have rumored that it was supposed to be Michael B. Jordan
No, I don't.
and Jonathan Majors.
I think the twins is part of the plot.
I think that's just a joke.
It is.
But a lot of people were saying it was clearly made for the both of them.
It would have worked.
I mean, I wouldn't have.
It would have worked.
So
It would have worked.
Michael B. Jordan is playing twins: Haley Steinfeld, Delroy Lindo, Jack O'Connell, and Wunmi Masaku, who we just saw in Scavenger's Reign.
We did.
Yeah.
And every time I think about that not getting renewed, I get upset.
I know. So this is going to be our Blade substitute.
Yeah.
Our Blade supplement until we get Blade in 2030. Yeah.
The fact that we said the same year is hilarious.
So what is this movie about? This movie is about two brothers who return home to the Deep South and find that their hometown has been overrun by vampires.
I think the vampires are the Klan.
And I thought that the vampires were going to be white people. But
Yeah.
it seems like that it may start out as white people and then they just start turning the black residents.
Right, because
Yes.
in the teaser trailer we got, Wunmi Masaku is asking another character, who's black. She's like, "Won't you be honest?" He's like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "'Cause you dead."
Yeah.
He's like, "What do you mean?" So it's I don't know. I don't know if it's a mystical element to this. I mean, it's already vampire, so you can kind of take it wherever you want.
Yeah.
We'll
It looks a little bit like Salem's Lot. I
Yeah, we
watched
talked
not too
about
long
that.
ago, but plot-wise, they both seem like twin films because I was about a guy returning home.
That
to
was
the
Lewis
South.
Pullman, right?
Yes,
Right.
and Alfred Woodard.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was a good movie. This teaser looks good. It looks a lot like it's the same shots of the trailer. It seems like we're going to spend a good chunk of the movie in a Mexican standoff with the survivors inside trying to fight the vampires trying to break in. Kind of like Dusk Till Dawn a little.
We've gotten a couple shots of them in this barn.
Yeah.
Already.
And we also get a lot of shots of him outside in the daylight shooting a Tommy gun. So I wonder what he's fighting in the daylight. Are they daywalkers? Can they walk in the daylight?
Probably.
That's a little interesting.
I
Because
don't know.
who is he fighting outside?
Right. I mean, you got to have at least one day walker.
Yeah.
That spice it up a little bit.
And we really only get one shot of both twins in the same shot. And the rest, it seems like only one twin is with the survivors. So speculation is going to be one twin is
a
evil.
vampire, I think. Or leading a charge or turning people or something.
Yeah.
Something.
That has to be the case.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Either way, it looks good.
It does.
This is going to be directed by Ryan Coogler, who will be getting right back to work after this, thanks to Denzel Washington spilling the beans that Black Panther 3 is coming. So
excited.
Excited for this.
Excited for this too.
Yeah.
As well.
Wondering if he's going to find a way for Michael B. Jordan to be in that as well again.
No, absolutely not. Right. We've had enough.
I mean,
I've had enough of Killmonger.
Every
No.
film together.
No
so.
and no.
Almost all of his
No.
films include Michael B. Jordan.
He
so.
can have one without him. We don't need Killmonger at this point, please.
Interested to see this once again, April 18th, 2025, right around my birthday. So
Yeah.
that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Last stop in the trailer park is for Zero Day. This is a Netflix series that is coming out February 20th, 2025. Stars some legends: Robert De Niro,
Chick.
Angela Bassett,
Chick.
Dan Stevens, who's not a legend but good,
Pretty good.
Jesse Plemons,
Check.
good, and Connie Britton.
Check.
I don't know who she is, but this will be my first introduction in the Connie.
Hey, Connie, welcome to the party.
The series follows an ex-president who is Robert De Niro, who oversees the response to a major attack.
And Angela Bassett is the president in
Yes.
this. So it sounds like it looks like she calls him up because I think it's a digital warfare.
It seems like some type of terrorist attack has happened,
Yes.
and they're on the brink of another.
Right, and they're trying to find out who it is. So she brings in Robert De Niro to help her.
Yeah, so the
Figure it
first
out.
attack seems like it's an explosion of some sort.
Right.
It seems like they're on the brink of another attack happening. They bring in Robert De Niro to try to stop it.
Use his tactics.
And this is the plot is interesting because I don't think that's the procedure.
Of course not.
I don't.
You don't get to call.
Yeah,
You don't get to call old president and be like, can you come on help me? No.
yeah.
That's why you having a cabinet of advisors and all that jazz.
And I don't know what special skills Robert De Niro's ex-president character would have that would make him like
Right.
like a good Secret Service PI
PI
or
yeah.
something.
He's not the FBI. That's
And
what the FBI is for.
hunting down terrorists. But I figure once you retire, you pretty much just Once you
chilling.
retire from being the president, you're done working.
You're doing
forever.
books,
Yeah.
right? You're doing
So,
book tours. You're putting out your favorite song list. Things of that nature.
It looks like it's going to be interesting. It looks a little Jason Bourne-ish.
It looks very Jason Bourne-ish.
Government espionage, love stuff like that. This is funny because Angela Bassett is the president in this, and I think she's the Secretary of Defense in Mission Impossible.
It looked like she might have got a promotion in the next Mission Impossible.
She at least runs MI5 now. I think she's the new Alec Baldwin.
Oh, that makes sense.
In MI5.
Because she's coming off a plane and she's got like security lined up. So she definitely looked like she didn't got a promotion.
I think she was the secretary in Olympus Has Fallen.
Okay.
Yeah, both of those movies.
Yes.
The Gerald Butler movie.
I like Angela Bassett, government associate or government worker.
Yeah.
In any
government
shape
employee Angela Bassett.
She was always like a high ranking official.
Right.
I love it. I love how she does this. She really fits into that role.
I hope that she survives because they offed her in London Has Fallen. I was not very happy about that.
I did not like that.
With no fanfare.
Right, and she's the president, so I don't want it to be a situation where like she dies and the vice president take over. No.
Or I hope she's not the villain. Like it's a twist.
I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind it because we don't get
Have
Angela.
we seen Angela Bassett villain?
That's what I'm saying. We don't ever really get that. That would be kind of
I would
cool.
like to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. I didn't realize this was going to be a series until this trailer came out.
It looks like a movie, it probably should be.
Yeah.
Just a film. But
because if that first episode don't hit, everybody going to be like, no, thank you. I'm falling off.
I heard the same thing about The Madness. That The Madness would have done better as a film.
Why does The Madness sound familiar?
That was Coleman Domingo's Netflix series.
Yes. Okay.
I heard it was good, but I heard that it being stretched out did not do its viewing any justice.
It wasn't like Alex Krauss.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically. Yeah.
Okay.
So
we'll see. I'm definitely gonna check it out. I mean, it's Robert De Niro, Angela Bassett playing presidents, so I'm not gonna say no to that ever.
All right, so that is the last stop on the trailer park. Let's dive into this bunch crunch.
First bites of crunch. Cory Hawkins, who we liked from Color Purple,
yes,
he was also on The Voyage of the Demeter. Speaking of Nosferatu, but I didn't see that. I don't think it was well received. Wait, was he in that or was he in the Exorcist movie?
He was Voyage of the Demeter.
Okay. So he is going to be joining the cast of Crime 101. Now, we've talked about this movie a couple of times on the podcast. This is the crime thriller that stars Halle Berry, Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, and Barry Keoghan. This movie is the movie that's going to be based off a short story about jewel thieves on their last heist and the detective out to stop him. We don't know who's playing who. We've kind of made some guesses. If like Chris Hemsworth is the jewel thief and Mark Ruffalo is the detective. Not sure where Halle Berry fits in, but I'm excited for this because it sounds good and I like this cast.
The cast is building up and becoming more and more interesting every time they add somebody to it.
Yes.
I think Chris Hemsworth should be the jewel thief and Mark Ruffalo should be the detective.
Yeah, it fits more.
Yeah, it fits more.
And Barry need to be a thief too. He give a jewel thief vibes.
Barry, it sounds like it's kind of like The Heat, which is this is supposed to be a parallel from. And Barry Keoghan should be like the Val Kilmer.
Yeah, exactly. He looked like he would be the Val Kilmer of this.
Yeah, so interesting. Cory Hawkins is a good actor.
I like him.
Joining Halle Berry. Absolutely interested in this.
Yeah.
So.
And our next bit of crunch was big sad news. No, nobody's dead. But Matt Reeves' Batman Part 2 is getting delayed a whole year.
And if you're quiet, you can hear the plane hitting the Pentagon. Because this is a disaster.
That's exactly what everybody felt like. It was originally going to come out. Well, it was originally going to come out October 2nd, 2025. Then it got moved to October 2nd, 2026.
Yeah.
Now it's coming out October 1st, 2027.
Yeah. So once this news dropped, the general consensus was, well, why don't we all just lay it out and die then? Since we can't get the Batman.
People got like gifts of like guns in their mouth, falling off buildings and bridges.
Let me say this. This is the biggest flag that we only need one Batman. The fact that this one Batman got pushed back and everybody is literally ready to douse the planet in gasoline and set it on
End it all. According to James Gunn, the reason why it got delayed is because the script's not done. And everybody's like, well, what is Matt doing? Because Matt Reeves wrote and directed the first Batman. He did not write the Penguin. He was just executive producer, which means, fancy.
Yeah.
And so everybody's kind of like, well, was Matt?
Now, a couple weeks ago, Matt Reeves said the script was close to being done. So how is it getting so close that it needs to be pushed back?
But James Gunn also said a week or two later that he was like, I haven't seen anything.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, well, Matt said he's working on it. You ain't seen it. Are y'all talking? Do y'all know each other's phone number?
There's some juicy tidbits in there that we're not receiving. We'll probably get much later.
Right.
On
closer to
what the holdup is and why we're getting mixed messages.
So this is set to go to production. Now, the way James Gunn worded it, he said that Matt Reeves wants to put out the best movie possible, and you never know how long it takes for a script to be done. I'm like, well, why did y'all give it a date? Because the way that sounds, you don't know when it's going to be done because the production is set. They're set to go to production late summer of next year.
And they said they wouldn't be giving people dates unless scripts were written.
Now, how you going to production next summer if you ain't got no script ready? How are you doing that? So we are all ablaze.
Yeah.
We're like, where is it? We hot, we mad. And then did you see James Gunn comment to somebody talking about all the times between other franchises? Did you not see that?
I saw him talk about the 5-year gap between the Batman film is not that big of a deal.
Yes, that particular comment. And then he named a bunch of films that like didn't really have sequels planned. And then he named Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and 3. I'm like, sir, there was a pandemic in between that. You can't use that.
There weren't 5 years between the Dark Knight films.
Christopher Nolan put out his trilogy in 7 years.
Christopher Nolan is going to have put out the Odyssey
and Oppenheimer
before we get
Oppenheimer between two Batman films.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody's kind of like, what is Matt doing, and why is nobody kind of? Maybe he just needs some help. He ain't got to be the only one to write it.
Was the Penguin responsible for the delay in this?
Why?
Did they push this back further to make space to fit the Penguin in between? Because let me tell you something. I enjoyed the Penguin, but if I had to go back in time and delete it from history so that Batman could get pushed up, I absolutely
don't need
would.
Because the Penguin's not going to be a main villain in the next movie.
With no regrets?
Well, I'm assuming he's not going to be the main villain.
No, he's going to be in it.
Yeah, but you don't need to rewrite a movie for that.
We still don't even know who the villain is going to be. He's toyed with the
Apparently
idea
Matt don't either.
They've toyed with the idea of Mr. Freeze and Clayface.
But this Batman is not fantastical, so I don't know how that's gonna work.
We don't know. So
the news was not well received. It seems like James Gunn is trying to clean it up by saying, we waited 19 years for Avatar, so I don't know why y'all can't wait for Batman. Everybody's like,
James,
James, you're
not James. James Gunn is not James Cameron.
Listen,
so
he mentioned Alien and Aliens.
Mm-hmm.
He mentioned GOT 2 and 3. He mentioned
Alien and Aliens.
Well, people were saying like, well, the Aliens was not planned when Alien came out, so you can't use that. Avatar, the reason for that gap because James Cameron was waiting for technology to be updated to make the movie that he wanted. He also used Top Gun Maverick, and I'm like, sir, Top Gun Maverick and Top Gun, like they weren't thinking of Maverick when they made Top Gun 2 decades before.
No, that's like if they made a Starship Troopers 2 and being like, see, like that doesn't no.
People were like, those were considered legacy sequels because they weren't planning to make those sequels when they made the first one,
and they weren't making like multi-film franchises within a connected universe when they were making those films.
He cherry picked because what he did not mention was the Batman before him.
I love Guardians of the Galaxy too, but Aliens, Avatars, and I don't know if Top Gun won any Oscar. Those are all Oscar-winning films, or at least Oscar-nominated films.
I think Top Gun Maverick at least might have been nominated.
Alien won. Sigourney got nominated because of Alien 2.
But though, like, let's be honest.
Those are top tier films.
Thank
that
you.
Were made,
That's just
top of the top tier films.
I was gonna say the Batman was good, but it ain't cream of the crop. It ain't Alien.
Hollywood was different.
It ain't Alien.
Hollywood was different.
Hollywood is much different.
The world was different. There wasn't a lot of social media where you could post announcements for movies coming out. When you went to see Alien in, what was that, 1979?
You wouldn't even think about Aliens 2 or Aliens.
Ridley Scott couldn't jump on Twitter and say, hey, everybody go see this so we can fund the sequel. He was cherry picking, trying to smooth it over, and everybody was calling him out on it. Like, sir, please do not compare the Batman to Alien. He should stop trying to explain things.
He should stop being on social media, in my opinion.
He should stop trying to explain things.
Everybody loves when he debunks rumors. I'm like, until he says something that don't make sense, then everybody's like, get off of here.
So
just be quiet.
To add to this, Andy Muschietti also just recently spoke out and said that the Batman Brave and the Bold movie has been delayed for a bit. He didn't say how long, but he just said a bit, and that he would be making a smaller film probably in front of that.
Now, the funny thing about this is this came out, this was not news. He was just on a podcast, and somebody caught it and posted it.
Yes.
And this came out before, the same day, before we learned about Batman Part 2. So we got 2 Batman delays in the same day within hours of each other. And remember, these are supposed to be 2 different Batmans. They don't coincide with each other. But as you started this segment off with, this is the perfect sign that we don't need 2 Batmans. It's not going to work. I don't care what they do. It's not going to work.
So Andy Muschietti has a background in horror.
Right, because he did It.
I think he's responsible for the It show.
Okay.
The Welcome to Derry show.
Okay.
And he did The Flash. That was his last blockbuster. That did not do well.
Was that a blockbuster? Can you call it a blockbuster? Or can you call it a tentpole?
It did not bust the block, but the goal was for it to do so. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's a flop in it by
James
any other
Gunn
name.
said it was the best movie he'd ever seen. So did Tom Cruise.
That worries me for Superman.
It worries me for DC that you would lie like that.
Yeah.
Because you know it wasn't. So the fact that you would lie in our face, I don't appreciate that.
The Flash is what gave Andy Muschietti the Batman Brave and the Bold. That was what James Gunn used to gift that to him. And it has been quiet on the Western front since
And now we know why.
And
I also think he said it was delayed because there's no way. Well, I can't say there's no way. Are they really going to have Robert Pattinson Batman and this Brave and the Bold Batman out at the same time? Or are they trying to wait for one to finish before they start
The
together?
moral of the story is that 2 Batmans were delayed this week and only one made noise. So that should tell you which one to move forward with.
And everybody wanted to jump off a cliff.
No, when Batman, the Batman Part 2 got delayed, everybody was like, oh God, no. And when this got delayed, everybody was like, okay, cool, sure.
A lot of people don't want him to direct this because of the Flash.
Yeah, so. No.
DC is they had a real high with Superman last week, and now we back to our usual up and down and up and down and up and down.
Almost as if DC is running just like every other studio. And it's not doing anything different or special. It is just amongst the crowd of the rest of the studios making films, running into obstacles, trying to navigate them.
Standard movie studio? It's not an elitist studio? Yeah. Oh my God. The way certain people talk, you would have thought this was like cream of the crop.
Yeah, but
How about y'all get Zaslav from stop chopping that place up into bits and selling it for parts? That's
absolutely going to happen.
Let's focus on that.
I'm more interested in seeing how long James Gunn is with DC.
I think he's going to stay to save. Even if it burns, I think he's going to stay.
I can't even call it. I mean, we don't even know what Warner Brothers is going to be like in a couple years.
You know what? He probably going to just write and direct everything.
Like, is DC just going to be its own thing? Is it even going to be part of Warner Brothers?
Oh, somebody got to buy it because who's going to cut the checks?
I don't know.
Because Marvel has to have Disney cut the checks. So you got to have somebody, right? Like, I know everybody's like, oh, DC's not part of WB. Yes, it is. Because somebody got to cut the checks. Yeah. So
I feel like if Superman doesn't do as well as WB wants it to, Zaslav is going to send the whole studio to the auctions.
Maybe.
Because it seems like he's the type of person to do that.
Superman is funny because everybody's kind of like, Deadpool and Wolverine didn't necessarily save Marvel. We got to wait till these other movies come out. But everybody's like, Superman's going to save DC. I'm like, well, how do you know?
I don't think so.
The movie ain't out yet. We'll see.
What's the highest grossing Superman film ever made? Was
Probably
it the Henry Cavill one?
Absolutely. It had to be.
Man of Steel made...
Man of Steel, do you count Batman versus Superman? That's technically a Superman movie.
Man of Steel made $670 million, so nowhere near $1 billion. So if this movie makes $1 billion, that would be the outlier.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious if it's going to get that high. I'm very curious if it's going to make it. I don't know.
I mean, the way these movies are going now, it's seeming like people are plateauing at about the $650 million mark.
We should probably not look past Superman at this point. We should just nothing else.
Just wait. Superman is the start.
Well, then after that we get Supergirl.
I'm excited about the Green Lantern show.
That's not for like 2026.
I know, but that's the next thing past Superman.
Clayface. But it's not connected to any Batman because there ain't gonna be no Batman yet. I don't know how this gonna work, y'all.
I'm worried.
They be trying to give elitists like we doing everything different. Come to find out, like you just said, they got trials and tribulations and things they got to work out with the rest of every other studio. So
call Kevin, see what he would say. He probably tell you shut up.
Listen, WB probably like, the last time we made this Batman trilogy, Christopher Nolan pushed these junks out and said, what is going on? What is going on?
Yeah, Chris wasn't playing. And those are all bangers, and he did those quick. So
listen, if Christopher, no disrespect to Matt Reeves, but if Christopher Nolan can do it, you can do it.
And he's meticulous.
You can do it.
Yeah, so.
And he had WB on his throat just like he does. Same studio.
He
did,
yeah. You're true. Same landscape and everything. Different studio heads, but the company still sucks.
They're both grounded Superman. Yeah. I mean, grounded Batman. So it's not like we got like, super fantastical Batman, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm thinking they're going to try to pressure him to move them together.
I think that's part of the reason it's delayed.
Oh,
because Matt Reeves said that he was close to being done. James Gunn said he wasn't, and now it's delayed.
Because it ain't done at all.
The truth is in the middle.
And the other part is, I get it being delayed, but a whole year,
like delayed a whole year makes 3 months,
it seem like 6 months, but a whole year, that sounds fishy to me. Like, why does it need to be October?
And it's not because Robert Pattinson is busy filming something else. I mean, Robert Pattinson's been filming other stuff.
They better hope Robert Pattinson stick around. How about that? That? Because is this supposed to be a trilogy? Because when is that third one coming out?
Yeah, you have to be careful about that too, because when you push these movies back, these actors aren't getting any younger, and you still want them to commit to these 10-year. You don't want to sign them to 10-year deals because you don't want to pay them, but you still want them to be available for at least 10 years to finish off whatever story.
He's supposed to be playing a younger-ish Batman, so he not going. Somebody clocked it and said that he's going to be older in this next one than Christian Bale was when he was done with his trilogy. Y'all, get Matt some help. How about that? Just get Matt some help. Call Christopher.
All right, so that is all of the movie news, Trailer Park, and Bunch Crunch this week. We are going to take a short break and get into our movie review of the week, which is Nosferatu.
This week we watched Nosferatu. It's so funny to say it that way. It was released on Christmas Day, 2024. It is directed by Robert Eggers, who is also the director of The Witch, The Lighthouse, and The Northman. None of which I've seen, but I think they're all well received. I've
seen The Witch.
Okay.
And I have seen part of The Lighthouse.
Okay. They're all horror movies, right? Is the Northman a horror movie?
No, the Northman is kind of like the Odyssey. It's an action epic about a man who is returning home on a long, harrowing journey. Okay. Stars Nicole Kidman.
Oh, I didn't know that. I knew it starred Bill's brother, Alan. The other Skarsgård brother.
Alan Skarsgård.
I can't think of his name.
Hold on.
Sorry.
Now we have to get it right.
I really just botched that. I was like...
Alexander.
I was close. Somebody calls that boy Alan.
Alexander Skarsgård. Yeah, Nicole Kidman plays Alexander Skarsgård's mom.
Okay. So Robert Eggers this is not his first rodeo in movies. Casting characters for Nosferatu include Bill Skarsgård, who plays Count Orlok, a.k.a. Nosferatu, a.k.a. Dracula, pretty much.
Essentially. They're the same.
Nicholas Hoult plays Thomas Hutter. Lily Rose Depp, who, if you can guess right, that is Johnny Depp's daughter.
Yes.
Plays Ellen Hunter, Thomas's wife. Aaron Taylor Johnson plays Frederick Harding, who
back to makeup for Craven.
Exactly. I was trying to phrase it in a good way, but yes, back to makeup for Craven. Emma Corrin plays Anna Harding, who is his wife. We just saw Emma in
Deadpool and Wolverine.
Bing, bing, bing,
she was
bing,
good.
bing.
Cassandra Nova.
Well, it's a lot of like superhero playing people
outside of Lily Rose. Yeah, everybody's been in a superhero movie.
Right, going to be or already has been. Willem Dafoe, iconic legend. He is the moment. Willem Dafoe plays Professor Alvin Eberhard von Franz. I'm going to keep calling him von Franz.
Yes.
In this, Ralph Ineson plays Dr. Willem Sievers, and we have Simon McBurney, who plays Hernock. I think it's 2 R's there, but I'm going to say that's Hernock.
Yeah, I think Or air. One of the two.
Knock.
Yeah. Knock.
Now, something to slight deviation. Nosferatu is based. This movie is a remake of the 1922 silent film Nosferatu, and that movie is an unauthorized movie based on the book Bram Stoker's Dracula, the book. So what happened was,
Wait. Nosferatu
yes, the 1922 film
is based off of Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yes,
That is so confusing.
it is. Well, what? Here, let me.
Because they never go back to that.
Let me explain. What happened was the OG Nosferatu movie just changed the character's name, so that's why you're confused.
Okay.
So in Dracula, it's Count Dracula.
Right.
He changed the name to Count Olak, and so what he basically did was took the same characters, changed their names, and made a very similar story. So similar that he got sued. The movie was unauthorized, and they had to destroy all the copies.
Was Nosferatu foreign?
Look, do you talk about the OG movie?
Yes.
Let me see.
And book, I
It
guess?
was German. Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. So basically they brought it west and
Okay.
changed everything.
Yes. So, and if you look on the Wikipedia page for the OG Nosferatu movie, it says it's based on Dracula by Bram Stoker.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Yep. So that's why it all sounds similar, is because Nosferatu is based on Dracula, y'all.
Okay.
Nosferatu is Dracula. Keep that in mind as we go along here. All right. Budget is $50 million, around $50 million. Runtime of 2 hours and 12 minutes. Box office, this movie is doing excellent day. In the box office, opening day, which was Christmas, domestically, it made $11.5 million.
Great.
It is projected to do $40 million for its 5-day holiday week. Now, it's Christmas, so instead of just doing Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they do Hollywood math, and then they count Christmas, the day after Christmas, and then the whole weekend.
Yes.
So it's projected to do $40 million domestically. This will be Robert Eggers' highest grossing movie, because his last film, The Northman, did $34.2 million total domestically, and he about to make it up in a weekend with this movie. So it's doing really good at the box office. Yay for horror. Cinema score of a B-, which is good for horror, I would say.
Yeah, that's a win for horror.
Yeah, definitely. No, other movies can't get no B's.
No.
Horrors, they can get B's. They can even get like C's sometimes.
Horrors are known for setting up expectations and divisive endings. So the fact this is a B means it's less split in the middle and more split on the positive side.
Yeah.
People were very confused why a B- was good.
Cinema score, you gotta explain it every time. like superhero movies cannot get B's. Horror movies can absolutely
Superhero
get
movies
B's.
should not be divisive.
Right. Kids movies cannot get B's.
No.
Horror movies, B's are perfect.
Yes.
Rotten Tomatoes, the critic scores gave this a 86. Audience a little lower, they gave it a 76. And I think I know why. I think I would give it somewhere in the middle of those two, but we'll get into the review.
Okay.
All right. So you want to give us the plots for Nosferatu?
So the plot, I was not prepared for this. So the plot of Nosferatu
Do it on a whim.
is the OG story of Count Orlok is obsessed with Ellen Hutter, and he is trying to seduce her while also dispatching of her husband.
Yeah.
In surprisingly non-lethal ways.
Yeah. And the townsfolk.
And the husband and townsfolk have to band together to find a way to stop him before he gets to Ellen.
It's pretty good. That is different, slightly different from, I'm not going to go through OG Dracula. Slightly different from OG Dracula. So the OG Nosferatu differs from the OG Dracula, but not enough to get sued. So they're very similar stories.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you want to get into your non-spoiler thoughts first? You want me to go first?
You can go first.
All right. I have quite a few, but I ain't gonna ramble on too long.
Okay.
We already said this, but Aaron Taylor Johnson is much better in this than Craven, y'all.
Yes.
If you ain't seen Craven, don't bother. But
who knew actors are better when you give them better things?
If you are an Aaron Taylor Johnson fan, you would quite enjoy him in this. I think he might have been close to one of my favorites, if not my favorite.
He was a standout
in this. I also like Willem Dafoe and Ralph Ineson's back and forth. Ralph Ineson is a mentee of Willem Dafoe's character in a sense. So they kind of have like a, a back and forth of student versus teacher. And I thought that was cool. I'd love to hear Ralph Ineson's voice because
so good.
He's like Keith David. He's like a Clancy Brown. He just has a very distinct voice, but he's also a good actor. So he was good in this. I thought Lily Rose Depp was just okay.
Oh.
Now, do you want to know another fun fact that I almost used for trivia? Anya Taylor-Joy was originally supposed to play this character.
That makes so much sense
Doesn't
because
it?
Anya Taylor-Joy and Ralph Ineson were the leads of The Vivitch.
Oh, okay. So
and it
Robert
seems like
Eggers,
Robert Eggers likes to bring the same people
back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think Anya would have put a little more in this. You know who else I think would have put a little more? Mia Goth.
Mia Goth, remind me. Ooh,
Pearl. Come on.
Yeah. Mia Goth would have been.
She could have been Pearl in this.
Yeah. Mia Goth would have been great in this.
So I've never seen Lily Rose in anything else, so this is my intro to her. I think she did okay, but I also feel like other actors could have put a little more punch behind her character. But she wasn't bad. She was fine. It was a little bit of a slow burn at the start. Just that, I think like an hour in, we started ramping up, and I looked at my phone. It was 40 minutes. I was like, "Are we gonna get to where's Dracula?" But after that, it picked up. And what else do I have? I would have liked some more exposition. Typically, we don't like exposition, but some more backstory of what was going on with Ellen and how she got to where she was with Count Orlok would have been nice. And I would say this was more gross than scary. It's not it's a horror film, but I was not the least bit scared.
Yeah.
And I'm a chicken when it comes to horror movies. Like, literally can't handle nothing. So those are my non-spoiler thoughts.
My non-spoiler thoughts are the very first one, not very scary. I think it depends on your threshold, though.
No.
I
scary, though.
Some people are just
don't worry.
Some people just don't like figures in the darkness. So
yeah, it's gross though.
I think it's more haunting than scary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
It more settles in the unsettling than it is scary.
But to me, like, Alien Romulus was way more scary than this.
So to add to this, this for some reason Nosferatu and Dracula stuff, if you look at most modern Nosferatu and Dracula stuff, it's like bodies on bodies on bodies on bodies. Classic, he doesn't really kill that many people.
He don't kill a whole bunch of people in this at all.
In the classic Dracula and Nosferatu stories, not very many people die.
The rats do all the work.
Yeah, nowadays it's like Bloodfest, everything with
You're
all
right.
vampire stuff.
You know what else is interesting is that in the OG stories, they go for the necks. In this story, he went for the chest.
And as a villain, Nosferatu is a lot more tame than you would see Dracula. And like, he ain't no Castlevania Dracula. Like, you don't get nowhere near that.
I actually would like to see that.
But
that's what I came for.
He's a lot more tame. So I think that's why it was less scary.
I can't put it in a thriller bucket because it's not a thriller, but it's definitely in a light horror bucket for me.
It was a lot more haunting than it was scary for me.
Yes.
But I do think that there were great performances from everybody. I don't think there was a bad performance for me. I'm the opposite. I think my standout was Lily Rose Depp.
Interesting.
I think that she did a really good job.
Okay.
Because she reminded me of a favorite of yours and mine, White Fave.
Mia Goth?
No. Older. More capable. Favorite James Bond girl.
Oh, Eva Green?
Yeah, she reminds me of Eva
Really?
Green. Have you ever watched Penny Dreadful?
No.
Yeah, she reminds me of Eva Green in Penny Dreadful. In Penny Dreadful, so Penny Dreadful was a show about Eva Green and some other dudes.
Yeah.
Where she was a psychic and they hunted otherworldly creatures. The first season was about vampires. And she had a psychic connection with the vampires that they exploited to like hunt them down. Okay. And I thought that was interesting that they gave that ability to Lily Rose Depp's character.
Because that is not from the original. That is new to this.
Right. They made her like psychic.
Basically.
Which made her character a lot more interesting.
Okay.
But I think she did a really good job with the physical acting.
Yeah. They did play up down on that in the marketing saying how there was no CGI. I was like, I mean, I don't know how you CGI
50% of her role is possession.
Yeah.
And she did a really good job with the contortion.
She did.
And whenever she was tweaking out.
When she was possessed, essentially.
When she had to give a good physical performance, I think she did really, really, really good job.
I agree.
Willem Dafoe is going to stand out because he's there.
Right.
And he just eats up scenery.
He does.
In anything he's in. Initially, I was not satisfied with the ending. I will say that. We walked out and
Yeah,
we were
'cause
like, how do we feel about this movie? And I was like, I have to let it simmer for a little bit.
You and I did for now. I knew the ending because I didn't realize that I read the Nosferatu ending before. I thought I was reading the original Dracula ending.
So you went in with Nosferatu ending knowledge. I went in with Dracula ending.
Right, and I could see how you would be like, what the heck?
One of us got what we wanted, the other did not.
And I wouldn't even...
We're not
sort
what we wanted.
I'll get into my thoughts, but sort of.
One of us knew it was coming.
There
I
it
had
is.
an expectation, I think, and that's why I think I was a little dissatisfied with the ending because of the expectation of what I know of Dracula.
I prefer the ending that you think that we would have gotten.
I prefer that as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Because of what the characters go through in this movie. I would have preferred a different ending.
I would.
I think I just wanted more story.
Fair.
And I needed more answers. You made a good point about Lily Rose Depp needing more exposition, which is funny because I feel like she had so much exposition. It was just a lot of what she was saying was nonsense. Or I didn't understand.
Somebody pointed that this was dialogue heavy and they literally just talking and you like, what?
She's explaining a lot of Lily Rose Depp's character she's a seer, I guess. She's a witch. She has psychic powers.
You said she had the shine.
She has the shine, various forms of the shine.
Yeah.
And she constantly explains what she's going through and what she's seeing, but because it's so unexplainable, her explanations are nonsense.
Right.
So I think it's weird to say it could have done more exposition.
Yeah, because I was like, typically you don't like that, but it was kind of like, girl, what?
I think it could have just, I needed the layman's terms, I think.
Yeah, because this is set in like the 1800s in Germany. So the talk, how people talk is a little different.
Yeah.
They don't have German accents.
It wasn't hard to understand, but I think he deliberately did not explain what I wanted an explanation
Probably.
for. They left it a lot to interpretation.
And this movie pushes over 2 hours. So any more than that, I feel like I would have felt like the movie was too long.
It did.
Yeah.
But those are all my non-spoiler thoughts of the film.
One last thing I'll add is that this movie was played up to be like super, super sexy. I don't know if I agree with that. It was definitely more sexual, but it wasn't rare. Yeah, but I wasn't like uncomfortable.
It was,
which is what I thought I might have been.
People call Bram Stoker's Dracula too horny. Because of how raunchy it is. This was not as raunchy as Bram Stoker's Dracula, but I don't know.
Is it more or less than Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula?
That's the one I mean.
That's the one you're talking about.
Bram Stoker's Dracula, that's the only one I've seen is the Francis Ford Coppola one, because I think there's multiple Bram Stoker's Draculas.
Probably.
The Francis Ford Coppola one with Gary Oldman
was very
raunchy.
Okay. I didn't think this was that raunchy.
This one was not as raunchy.
Okay.
But
there's elements, but it's not like. Bleh.
Yeah, there's elements of it.
Yeah, but they were like, seemed like they were trying to play it up, and I was like, this is actually just kind of not tame, but it's like, it's fine.
I mean, he's gross. He's a monster. So
right, like I said, more gross.
He's a deviant
than anything.
Yeah.
All right. So, anything else we have for non-spoiler thoughts?
No.
All right. So we are going to get into our spoiler thoughts here for this movie in 3, and 2, and 1. And by doing that, we're going to go down our character list like we typically do. So we'll start off at the top with Count Orlok, who's played by Bill Skarsgård. I mean, there's no notes here.
No notes.
Bill does a very good job of sliding into characters where he basically has to hide with it. It's very much Penguin with Colin Farrell, where you're kind of like, is Bill under there?
Yeah.
And he does a voice, like he does a very distinct Count voice, like you would, and it's not goofy, it's not silly. There are a couple of times where I didn't know what he was saying. They do give us subtitles on certain things that he says, but it's just very much like he disappears into the role. He sounds good. The makeup is very good. The acting is very good. My only complaint about his character is I would have liked to see him kill more people.
Yeah, and that's classic Dracula. Classic Dracula is not a lot of murder. It's mostly it's kind of like a dark romance.
Creepy dark romance, sure.
Classic Dracula, I guess, is less focused on killing people and more focused on just getting to the girl.
Well, and I think in the OG, in the source material, he actually, I hope I'm getting this right, he actually doesn't go to town to look for her. He's just he wants Thomas to come to him so he can get property to learn more about London. Because I think he's trying to like learn the lay of the land and find places to put his dirt so he can have multiple layers around the city.
Right.
He initially was not thinking nothing about that girl.
Yeah.
So that was different.
I think that might have been something that came along and once it was turned into Dracula, more of a Dracula story.
Yeah.
So I will say that I liked his character, like you said.
Yep.
He disappears into the role, kind of like the Penguin. There's no part of him that is recognizable as Bill Skarsgård.
They both got white skin.
He kind of appears with no fanfare.
Listen, so when he first shows up in the movie, I leaned over to you and one of us leaned over to the other and was like, Is that Nosferatu?
So to be blunt, I thought it was the housekeeper.
I thought it was the help.
Because
I thought it was the help.
you don't expect Dracula to be at his own front door.
He opens the door. He serves food.
I didn't expect him to be there. Okay, so we first get introduced to Count Orlok after Thomas arrives at the estate in Transylvania. And you get the typical doors opening by themselves and
creepy
stuff like that. So once he gets to the castle, the front gate opens and Dracula's just standing there in the distance.
Literally.
And he's in the darkness.
Chilling.
And we really don't get a good, clear shot of Dracula for a while.
We get a jump scare at the beginning. But when he's like fully clothed in his getup, he's just like, oh, he's a very tall guy.
Up until we first get introduced to him, the most of the film is build up.
Yes.
It's so much build up in anticipation until
he
shows up. Because you almost every character you come across tells you about him.
Yeah.
The Airnock tells Thomas about him, and then the gypsies tell him about him.
Right.
So then when he finally shows up and he's just standing there in the distance,
hey.
I'm like, okay, this is the maid. The maid is gonna lead him to Dracula.
Boom. Exactly. Because they go up the stairs, so I'm like, oh, we about to see him. And I was like, oh.
And then he starts talking. I'm like, oh no, that's him. He lives alone.
I was like, where is he gonna grab him? But no, okay. Yeah, you're right. He shows up and you're like, oh, this the guy. Okay, that's the guy. That's the guy.
His accent is very good.
Oh, very good.
I liked how civil he is.
He's not very violent until you push him.
He's very big on contracts, abiding by the contracts and not moving forward until everybody is in agreement.
But he's a shrewd businessman.
Yeah, so he brings Thomas there because he wants to sign the contract for the estate in London at his own house in Transylvania. And really, he just wants Thomas there so he can lock him up and have him out of the way.
And the contract he signs actually ends up being
a divorce contract that he has coerced him into signing.
And because it's not in English. It's in it's in Dracula's native language.
And he won't just take Ellen, which is a modern day Dracula thing. He would just go in there and snatch anybody else.
Which is how the OG story kind of goes.
And this one, he only wants Ellen if she's given willingly, and it has to be via verbal contract.
Yes.
And I like the fact that
he got rules.
That he has rules.
Vampire lore rules.
But yeah, he did a really good job. Tall, harrowing.
Yep.
I thought he was going to do some transformation because that's a Dracula thing.
No.
He turns into like a bat or a wolf, but he doesn't.
The most we see is like a scene where it seems like he's moving really quickly.
Yeah.
But
he has wolves that he uses to chase Thomas around the castle.
Some pets.
Outside of his regular performance, the physical performance, nasty.
I'm trying to describe.
So he wasn't sexy vampire Dracula.
No.
He wasn't Gary Oldman in a silk press with
Dracula.
a top hat and spectacles.
Alien with a skin
He looked
condition.
like a xenomorph a little.
With a skin condition.
Yeah.
Not sleek and smooth xenomorph.
So we're used to vampires being beautiful and young forever because they heal and regenerate.
Say no Lestat.
He more looks like an undead corpse.
A zombie.
Aging and gross and falling apart.
Yeah, he looks undead.
He's undead.
Literally.
He's unsightly.
His skin is no longer supple.
The way the movie opens is a jump scare with him, and after that, because they hid the way he looks, I don't think they still have revealed how he looks.
Not to the very, very end do you see his whole body.
We get a full jump scare of naked Count Orlok, and after that, I was like, you know what? Build up as much as you want. I can wait.
Yeah, we do get. There is a little bit of Orlok nudity in this.
Yeah,
or nudity period. So
full frontal nasty zombie Orlok body.
Yeah,
could have did without.
Great job on the makeup, guys.
That's why I said not scary but haunting because that haunts my dreams.
More, like I said, more gross than scary.
But he did a great job. I think it's criminal that Bill Skarsgård isn't in more stuff. So
I think he will be.
He was great in this.
Yeah, he had a tough year this year with movies, but it's always next year.
Yeah. All right, you want to talk about Ellen?
So Ellen Hunter is our protagonist, essentially.
So for people who don't know regular Nosferatu, but know Dracula, she would be the Mina Harker. She would be the Harker.
So Dracula So to set this up, Ellen called, and when in her younger years, we don't know how old she or how young she was, but she calls for somebody to comfort her and to be with somebody because she doesn't want to be alone. Unfortunately for her, the person she conjures up because she's got the shine is freaking Dracula.
The worst person.
I keep calling him Dracula, and I'm gonna keep calling him Dracula because it's Dracula. Nosferatu.
You're not incorrect.
Same thing. She calls up Nosferatu, and that's how they initially meet. And I feel like we could have got more explanation because I didn't realize that until I read it after the fact. So she conjures up Dracula. They have some sort of connection now, and I don't know how it breaks, but eventually she gets to go off and live her life and marry Thomas, but she keeps the shine. So she keeps the ability. She's always had the ability to like know what her gifts were and foresee things and hear things and all of that. Her character was cool. My biggest issue is that I would have liked the OG Dracula story where it wasn't centered around her and Orlok's relationship, which is essentially what this movie is.
Yeah.
Because every time all the possession and stuff was good and all that, because basically we go through the movie where her being possessed and because Orlok's trying to get to her and she can kind of sense him. So anytime they have a connection, she like has a seizure and stuff. So it's a lot of seizuring and it's a lot of her being possessed. And I'm just kind of like, I mean, this is kind of weird. Like, It's basically a story about a gross vampire and an innocent woman who was just trying to find a friend, and now they connected, and she can't get rid of the guy.
I think the issue for Ellen was that we don't get enough of her being regular. So her spells happen every night,
literally every 15 minutes.
Whenever her spells happen, it's like, okay, we're not going to get much out of her. Well, and the characters are like, we're not going to get too much out of her because she's not all the way here. And then in the daytime, she's mostly just saying nonsense.
Right.
So
I would have liked it to be about the character was fine, but I don't like my favorite part of the movie wasn't her, which is weird to say.
I think I really got into Ellen's character after Thomas came back.
Okay.
And the spell was broken. That's when she stopped tweaking as much.
Every night.
And she was kind of just like, okay, Thomas is back.
Yeah.
And I liked when she was like, okay, I need to tame whatever's going on with me and I need to use it
she started doing something.
To subdue this guy. Right. She stopped being like a victim of whatever Nosferatu was doing to her.
Yeah, like, and the characters played well. I wasn't buying into her story. I think that's what it is. It was just like there's more interesting things that could be going on, and you tripping is not the most interesting thing to me.
They leave a lot up to interpretation, and I think my interpretation of it was that she was young and she just didn't know what she was doing with her powers.
Yes, exactly.
And he says that she awoke him from his slumber,
and she was just phoning a friend, I guess.
Yeah,
from the mystic arts. I don't know.
Yeah, but they didn't really explain what the disconnection was
exactly
between, I guess, the commitment that she made to him when she was young.
And to when
and then
he
where he
back
went.
up.
Yeah, where he went. Did he just go back to sleep?
Right. That's what I was like. I would have preferred some exposition of what happened in the between times of that.
And the movie picks up immediately after their wedding. So maybe there was no issue until she got married. Maybe the marriage is what triggered him to make moves.
Sure. I mean, that's what you have to put together because it's like, well, what else?
Yeah.
Right? So the character was fine. Her being the central part of the story, I feel like it could have been more interesting had we followed the original Dracula storyline.
Or she just did something with her abilities. Because all in all, even until the end of the film, she never really did anything with her abilities.
She basically gives herself away. And it's like...
She didn't use her powers or her control over him. I mean, I guess she used her powers and her control over him to defeat him in the end, but it was at the expense of herself. And I would have rather her have done that and survived.
I think in the original, she actually does use her powers to try to like help the man of the story get to Dracula.
She just spends so much of this movie being a victim.
And agree. Let's get on to her husband, Thomas Hunter, who is played by Nicholas Holtz.
Yes.
Forgot that man's name. I wanted to call him Nick Nolte. I was like, that ain't his.
Nope,
not him. He was good. What frustrated me about Thomas is that his character was obviously experiencing some very odd things from his journey from his home to Transylvania, essentially, and he don't never once turn around and go, I should probably go back home. This is weird.
I think you have to assume that there is some type of magic taking place
that's taking over him to draw him to keep going.
So once he got to Transylvania and got to the gypsy place,
Yeah.
That would have been my first sign to turn around. But I guess nothing outside of,
Right.
I guess nothing weird happened at the gypsy place except for what he saw at night. But then
Right.
I think they kind of, I think he convinced himself that it was a hallucination.
And he just had to keep going for work.
Yeah.
So to give a little backstory, her knock, who is basically Renfield in this movie,
Not Nicholas Hoult this time.
not Nicholas Hoult this time. He takes the job. He's basically a real estate agent,
Mm-hmm.
and his boss tells him he needs to go to Transylvania because the count wants to sign the papers in person. So he has to go on this like 6-week journey. Dang, it was 6 weeks. He had to take 6 weeks to get back. I'm not going.
And I guess we're supposed to assume that he really committed to this because he wanted to be part of the firm.
He wanted, and they needed the money because they were like a new couple.
He
And
needed
all
to make
that
partner.
jazz. Right. So he gets there. He gets to the gypsy place. He sees them kill a vampire, essentially. We never explained the naked virgin on the horse.
Yeah, no sacrifice. She was just naked.
She was just naked.
I don't know why she had to be.
I just-
Maybe Date won't wake up unless there's a naked person present.
Once again, no exposition. And then he loses his horse because he wakes up the next morning. Everybody is gone.
Because they're gypsies.
Horse included. And he just keep walking up. I'm like,
Yeah.
sir, if you don't take your butt back home.
I think because he made it there, he might as well finish.
I guess it was, but he still had a ways to walk.
He had a ways to walk, yeah.
So Thomas was not our strong soldier in this. He was very much meek and mild, and I need to do this for my family and my wife. But it's like, Thomas, use some common sense. Something's not working. Something's weird here.
But he was the character we followed the most. So
At least for
I
the
guess
first
if
hour of the movie.
If he went home, the movie would be over.
You're right.
But so
You're right.
He was the only person that pushed the plot forward. at
Right.
least.
I mean, he ends up getting caught. That is original to the story. He does get caught he gets captured into the castle because Dracula bounces and makes his way back to the land, the house he just bought, via some boxes.
Yeah. So Dracula's plan was to basically drain him
Of his blood.
and leave him in the castle so that he would be out of the way so he could go steal Ellen. He made a lot of you should turn around decisions and not turning around.
I was a little frustrated by that. And then when he gets trapped, like I was actually like, oh, it was that fear of like getting somewhere and can't get out. So that was actually a good part of the movie because it actually built up that like, oh crap, you are stuck in a vampire castle. You cannot get out. He eventually like jumps off a ledge or something, gets found by some gypsy, I don't know, religious folk.
Or an Orthodox church. I looked it up.
There we go. He gets found by some church folk, ends up making it back home. But it was just that moment of where he's falling asleep, can't remember what happened. He wakes up with bite marks on him. It's like, Thomas, get out of here.
That has to be just the magic of Dracula. They play it fast and loose with what Count Orlok's abilities are. He can control the weather. Because he conjured up the storm. He strengthened the storm to carry him to London faster.
Yeah, so yeah.
He can some form of telekinesis because he can open doors.
He's Magneto.
He can talk to animals.
Charles.
So I guess
Craven.
part of his abilities was just keeping Thomas confused because it didn't seem like Thomas even had a sense of time sometimes.
Yeah, and Thomas actually tried to kill him when he found his coffin, and that's when we get the full frontal of Orlok.
Maybe he had low hemoglobin, so he just kept passing out.
I mean, he was getting his blood sucked out of him, so I can believe that.
Let's talk about their friends, the Hardings, Frederick and Anna.
I like them both. So Aaron Taylor Johnson did a great job in this because he plays the friend who don't believe none of this vampire mess.
They were the naysayers of the movie.
Right. So as Ellen stays with Frederick and Anna as Thomas goes on this 6-week long journey to go get these papers signed. And that's when she starts having the seizures and stuff. And Frederick is over it.
Yeah.
He's like, every night you having these seizures. I got 2 kids. Ain't nobody sleeping because you're freaking out. And then Anna, who's her friend, like wants to basically console her. She's like, we can't leave her. We need to stay by her side. She was a very good friend to Ellen when she probably could have been on the side of her husband of this chick is crazy.
Yeah, and to add that this was not news to them. Ellen has a history of spells going back to her childhood, and Thomas told them about that. So they knew that they were taking in a head case in the beginning, who was going to keep them up all night, every night for the next 6 weeks.
Right. But Aaron Taylor Johnson did a very good job of just sticking to his guns of like, this is madness. This is crazy. And typically you would get frustrated with a character like that. I did not, because he plays it up so well. But I like that he was really just about his family. Like, he was really about his wife and his kids. Anna was pregnant. So he was really just about protecting the peace of his house, and that's all he wanted to do.
Yeah. And he did not like Ellen.
Yeah, he didn't.
And that's made very clear towards the beginning of the third act of the movie, I think.
Because they get into an argument.
Or the end of the second act. They get into an argument. And it becomes clear that he doesn't really particularly care for her. And we don't know exactly why. Maybe because she just brings trouble. Right. But they did a lot for her.
They did. They kept her there the whole time. Thomas
they called
was
Dr.
gone.
Severs when she was having her moments.
Yep. So they tried to care for her, but they were non-believers in the mystic arts.
And Frederick tried to hear him out. He listened to William Dafoe. He listened to Dr. Severs.
He did.
He tried to hear them out. He let them get their explanations out. And at the end, he decided he just wasn't going for it.
He wasn't down for that life.
Fine.
And he probably had the worst. Him and Anna probably had the worst ending.
Yeah.
I would say.
So basically, and their twin daughters.
Yeah.
So basically, Nosferatu kills the daughters and Anna.
Yep.
Because he has told Ellen that if you continue to reject me, I'm going to start killing your loved ones. And he makes good on that promise.
He sure does.
He kills them both, and then Frederick ends up dying
of the plague.
Because the second act of the film is basically a speed run of the Voyage of the Demeter.
Literally 5 minutes.
So in the middle of the film, the Demeter shows up, dumps a bunch of plague rats, and starts to spread the plague across London.
Yep.
And Frederick basically dies from delirium in the plague.
Yeah. And with his dead wife.
With his dead wife and kids.
Yeah. It was sad. Like he was real, like the moment where we realized his kids and his wife are gone, he like broke up. He mad at Ellen. Tears, eyes is welled up. He apologizes for freaking out, but you could tell he's like, the man's broken.
And I guess at the end, I guess coupled with the fact that we don't know how long he had the plague. Because he died immediately after they died.
Yeah, he had to have a buildup of plague in him before all that happened. But,
so I really liked his character. I was a little disappointed that he died because it seemed like he was going to join the group.
It did.
And go against Dracula.
I think in the original he does.
And I think his character deserved to get his vengeance.
He lost his kids and his wife.
Then he just kills over.
Yeah, so, you're right. I was a little disappointed in that.
Yeah, and his character seemed like the type of character to be like, nah, I'm about to get my lick back. But he didn't. So
right. And he was a prominent businessman, so he had like cash and stuff. I liked his character.
Great performances from the both of them.
Agree.
Absolutely. Professor Von Franz.
Willem Dafoe, no notes.
Crazy fave.
He plays a crazy man who has been studying the occult. He's the one who basically tells everybody like this Nosferatu, and we got to do something about this. And there's a scene where he like fakes being kooky when Ralph Ineson's character shows up, and then there's a moment where he's like, "Oh, I know you, Ralph. I'm normal. Don't worry about that." So that was good. He was in this. I would have liked to have him in this earlier.
I was waiting for him.
Yes.
He didn't show up till like middle of after the first hour.
Yeah. So would have liked more Willem Dafoe because it's Willem Dafoe, but character was good. He's basically Van Helsing.
Yes.
As we talked about
and
earlier.
That makes sense then because you kind of have to let the stuff build up before you call Van Helsing. So
True. So he plays the Van Helsing of this and basically the character that tells everybody what's on the up and up and helps them defeat, in this case, Nosferatu.
Van Helsing is one of my favorite fictional characters. People usually think of him as young vampire slayer Van Helsing because
you talking about Hugh Jackman.
That was actually
I like that movie.
That's the only young iteration of Van Helsing for real. Okay. Van Helsing is always an old man. He's not a vampire slayer.
Oh, interesting.
He's always like an old man professor who just studies the occult. He's like Gandalf.
That's definitely not the Hugh Jackman version.
Yeah, he's Anthony. That's like Anthony Hopkins' character was kind of. He's like Gandalf, where he's not like always in the battle. He's there to disperse wisdom.
Okay. Now you know who's missing in this? That's in Dracula.
Who?
The 3 vampires.
He did not have the wives.
Nope.
I thought that was interesting.
They are missing because they were with Dracula in the beginning.
But you did notice that he had 3 other coffins in the basement when Thomas went to go uncover him. He did have
multiple coffins. Another thing that's different from Dracula is that Anna is whatever her name is actually a character called Lucy, and Lucy gets turned into a vampire when she is bit by Dracula, and then she just dies.
So, 2 opportunities I thought the wives were going to pop up.
Okay.
I thought the wives were going to pop up when the gypsies. I thought those were who they were going to go kill.
Okay.
I thought they were going to uncover the wives because it seemed like they were buried right outside the castle in the woods. That didn't happen. But I like the Easter egg of the wives because he had multiple coffins in his basement next to his.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's a callback for sure.
Willem Dafoe said that he will never stop working with Robert Eggers because Robert Eggers he feels like is a director who's the only director who actually sees him for who he is. So if you know Willem Dafoe, that means he let Willem be as crazy as he wanted to be in this movie.
He was a good kooky scientist or professor in this.
It served the film very well.
It did. He was definitely the highlight.
He was crazy. He was hamming it up, but everything he said was right.
Yeah,
even though he was nutty as a fruitcake.
Yeah, because his character was like outcasted from like the profession and whatnot because they didn't believe anything he was saying.
Yeah, the occult was not like a real profession to study.
Right.
But he says that he had never encountered Nosferatu before, but he said that he encountered various evils around the world, which is very Van Helsing. So
right, because Aaron Taylor, what's his name? Frederick was like, well, how do we kill it? And he was like, I don't know. And Frederick was like, he don't know.
And he was kind of like, Von France was like, I've faced a lot of different evils, not this particular one.
This one different.
Right.
So just read about it in the books.
I super enjoy Willem Dafoe's character.
All right. And last but not least, Dr. Severs, who is played by Ralph Ineson.
Sid Fave.
So he was kind of not a lead. Well, he's in this like the whole movie though.
He's in it more than Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
But he's not
like a lead in front. Like it's either Aaron Taylor Johnson or Thomas, or I'm saying everybody's real name and character name, or Willem. I said that already.
I think I would put the Hutters or the Hardings.
Yeah.
Severs and Franz all on the same level.
Okay, fair enough.
Like they're all the B character.
Yeah, so he played the scientist who was not kooky, who was trying to introduce he was like the go in between Frederick and Von France.
So he made the call.
He did.
To Von France. He's the one who got him there.
Right.
I think he's the town doctor. I think he's the medical doctor.
He runs the insane asylum, I think.
Okay.
Or maybe just a hospital.
He studies some type of medicine because they call him to check out Ellen. And then he says, this is outside of my practice. I need to call Von France.
This ain't my ministry.
I liked his dynamic between Severs and Von France. Like you said, it was very student teacher. It was. But fun because they're both older and well established in their careers and very well respected. So it's fun seeing an older student with his even older professor. He didn't naysay Franz. He questioned everything he said.
Yeah, and I like that he didn't bring him on and then was like, oh, you need to get out of here because I don't believe it. He was kind of like, are you sure? Are you sure? So yes, I like their dynamic was very good in the movie. And
I like that he didn't waste time. He himself did not believe in the occult. Right. But he knew that whatever Ellen was experiencing was outside of his profession. Right. So he was like, we might as well just call this other person.
Right. And he lived. I like that. I was worried.
This is the end of our characters. So our merry band of heroes, I guess, is Ellen, Thomas, Von Franz, and Severs. Those are who we have at the end who are like, these are our Avengers that are going against Dracula.
And one of them about to be Iron Man.
Yes. But I always like seeing Ralph Ineson in anything. He's the voice.
He is. And he was good. And I think I've experienced more of Ralph Ineson's voice work than acting. But he's good both ways.
I can't wait for Galactus. He's going to be so good.
Kevin, release the teaser.
He's going to be so good. Release the teaser. All right. So those are all of our characters. Let's dive into our likes and dislikes.
So I'll start off. Looked good. Cinematography in this, perfect. It's not too dark, which is weird because it takes place in a dark location.
1800s.
Ain't no sun. It's all cloudy, raining.
Yeah.
Anytime that they show Nosferatu's the iconic shadow coming up and down, all that was super great. You see this in the trailer, but there's a motion where his hand goes over the town like a creepy crawly hand.
I guess add that to his powers, teleportation via shadows.
Oh, is that what you thought it was? Okay.
Because you would clearly see the room in his shadow, but he's not in the room, and then he's in the room.
Yeah. Okay. So you're right. So
teleporting.
Okay. But all the visuals were good. At the beginning when Thomas is going up to Transylvania to the castle, and he's like, it's snowing. All of the wide shots were good because it's something in the background, not really sure. But tight shots, wide shots, all of that was good. Set design and costuming goes along with that. Also good. Everybody's coats.
That's one of my notes.
Them coats was fresh. Okay, I know they was warm.
Willem Dafoe's coat with the ruffles in the back. I need to make that.
Listen, warmer. Okay, warmer coat. I was hot looking at them in these coats.
central heating, but Willem Dafoe looked warm.
Right. That was good. The set design of like the castle and the rooms and the houses, all that was good. Picks up after the first hour. I already said that. So that first 45 minutes, a little bit of a slow burn. But after that, when Thomas gets stuck in the castle is when the heat turned up. So that was good. Ending felt kind of flat though. I'm going into my dislikes. Even though I felt like I was like, okay, I've read this ending accidentally and I know what's coming. It just ends. It just is like, oh, okay.
And I think that's where the disconnect between the Dracula and the Orlok and the Nosferatu
it's
thing
not
happens
a big
to me.
It's not a big climax. It ends how they said it was going in, and you're just like, and roll credits. Okay?
Yeah.
And some of the camera work I didn't like. Some of the panning, it would pan a little too long. And I'm like, can we get back to where the character is? Because we would pan off in the dark and we keep panning and we keep panning. I'm like, it's been 30 minutes. When are we going back?
Lots of build up.
Yeah, and I get that's what they were trying to do, but I was just kind of like, where is the character at? Put the camera back on him.
Yeah.
So those are a couple of my dislikes. What about you?
So I don't have any dislikes.
Okay.
I do have just a few likes though. Piggybacking off you, the lighting. Robert Eggers said that he was only going to use candlelight for filming this.
We do get that.
He wanted to keep realistic lighting to the time period. I'm not sure if he did that for the Vivitch, but it seemed like he did.
Okay.
So yeah. It was going to be I was worried about that at first because I was like, okay,
too dark.
This sounds like Christopher Nolan talking about sound.
Child,
so I won't be able to hear anything in a Christopher
What?
Nolan film. So I won't be able to see anything in this.
Look.
No, very well lit.
I'm worried about the Wolfman.
He lit a billion candles. I am worried about. Oh,
it's dark.
yeah,
that
I'm worried about
trailer
the
is
Wolfman.
Dark.
Wolfman looks dark.
This was very well lit. I agree with you.
I could see everything, and things that I could not see probably didn't matter.
Okay.
Because it was covered in so much darkness. But it was very well lit for him to only use natural lighting.
Yes, it was good. It was good.
The outside shots, I bet that was difficult to shoot because the moon has to be like perfect and you only get so much time.
Yeah, I'm assuming they could have just bumped up the brightness and editing.
I wonder how he lit the shot in the forest when the carriage rolled up.
There had to be a moon. I don't know, but in post editing they could probably touch it up a little bit. But those shots were really nice because it's just moonlight.
Yeah,
in the in the forest and the snow. Those look really good.
I love the wide shot of the castle when he's in the carriage and he's going down the winding mountainside
with the dogs.
And then the bridge. Yeah, and then the wolves are like chasing him. I don't know why the wolves would be chasing him. Like you want them to come.
I think they were maybe leading,
okay.
not chasing.
Don't spook the horses.
Yeah, right. Well, these horses is probably not normal horses.
I love the design of the castle and the estate in London. Both of Dracula's houses were creepy, big, and nice, and dilapidated, which is what you want.
Like his body.
Yes. Ugh, gross.
Very gross.
The practical effects of Nosferatu were really good. He looked gross.
It's given.
He just had like open wounds. He just looked like
zombie.
Decaying.
He was decay.
Yeah, his
literally
his waist was just like pelvis bone covered by skin.
I don't even know how his clothes was fitting on his body.
Yeah, he just wore like a cloak and a hat, it seemed like, and really long nails and fingernails.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and his face, he actually didn't look scary when his eyes wasn't rolled back into his head.
No, yeah, when he had normal eyes, he kind of just looked like a really, really, really old
creepy, old, gross man. But there were a couple scenes we see him where it's just all white. He doesn't have like pupils or anything. That looked more scary. But we don't get that but a couple of times.
And costuming, like you said, I liked the Lily Rose dresses.
Yes, her hats and whatnot.
Her hats or dresses.
That was good.
The Hutters, I'm sorry, not the Hutters, the Hardings house. And
yes.
the Harding's house design. I love their Christmas tree.
Yes.
This is a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
They had a Christmas tree that
Yeah.
was it was an old-timey Christmas tree that had candlesticks on it. Which, is that how they lit Christmas trees back then? That seems dangerous.
I mean, they wasn't the safest. They didn't have no safety regulations back in that day.
Live flaming candles.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
And Willem Dafoe's coats. All of his coats were like great.
Top 10.
Yeah.
Top 10 on the coats for sure.
All right, let's talk about the ending.
So the ending is, if you've seen the silent movie, it's just the same way. So Von Franz tells Ellen, you have the lore is, the vampire lore is, the only way to kill Nosferatu is for a willing participant of whoever he's fancying to sacrifice themselves, aka let that man bite you and drain all your blood.
And so two things. So she has to sacrifice herself, and they have to burn his coffin.
Oh, yes. So he has to not be able to go, because he has to sleep in the dirt that he came from, like the dirt of wherever he was born or whatever, every night. So that's why he sleeps in a coffin full of dirt. In the Voyage of the Demeter, he comes over in a coffin full of dirt.
Yeah.
And their plan is to burn the coffin so he can't get back to it, and for her to distract him so she can sacrifice herself to let him die.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what happens. So they distract Thomas, because Thomas is like, we about to go kill this man. Let's go. And Von Franz is like, actually what's about to happen. They go to Dracula's place, burn the coffins. Von Franz does it by himself because Thomas realizes what's actually happening. He tries to go save Ellen, but it's too late. She's then called up Nosferatu. Nosferatu was like, finally, come to me.
Yes.
And that's basically what happens. He sucks her dry.
Yeah.
And they both die.
Yeah.
He dies in a very nasty way. It's gross. We get like a zoomed in look of, it's kind of like the zombies in I Am Legend.
Yeah, so it's not a fun vampire death where he bursts into flames and disintegrates and leaves no mess.
No, like
they
he's
have
like,
to bury that nasty body.
He's like bleeding from a mouth, but his mouth's like really wide, and we've already talked about his body. Like they doing the do essentially. Yeah. So he ain't got no clothes on. She ain't got no clothes on, and so we see all his like sores and whatnot, and they basically die in the act.
And the sounds. They make sure to add the sound when she's digging her nails into his nasty flesh. Yeah,
and he's like, it's gross. It's nasty. Like, it's the worst type of doing the do scene you could ever see in your life. It's nasty. But she sacrifices herself. She don't make it. No. And as she's dying, Thomas shows up and holds her hand, and that's the end.
That's the end.
The townspeople are saved, but our characters got PTSD for life.
Yeah, so I guess the heroes win, but at the cost is too high.
Yeah, the cost. Like, you just killed me. I don't want to be here no way.
But you know what? Thomas is young. He can remarry.
He can.
Somebody that doesn't have the plague.
She sacrificed herself for her husband and the whole town, essentially, because I guess Dracula just would have went from place to place to place to place until he decided to tire himself out. I guess. I don't know. But that's the ending. And it ends very, Willem Dafoe basically states, like, you know, in order for Nosferatu to die, somebody has to sacrifice himself, and then that just is it.
That happens.
And scene closed, credits roll. So, what was your favorite line or scene?
I have a favorite line.
Okay.
Willem Dafoe says to Frederick Harding, the naysayer of the group, when Frederick is saying this is ridiculous, there's no such thing as vampires and this great evil. But he does think that there is something that needs to be stopped. And Willem Dafoe tells him, if we are to tame the darkness, we must first face that it exists.
It's a good scene. He had a lot of good one-liners in this.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. When you dig through the kookiness.
Right.
He had some bangers in there.
He did. Do I have a favorite line or scene? I like the scene where they first go to Von Franz and he's faking it. And he's like this real kooky, weird old man. And Frederick is like, we about to go. Because obviously you ain't the man we looking for.
Yeah.
And Severus is like, hold on a second. And then I don't remember what Severus says to him. But Von Franz turns around like, oh, I know you. What's up, my man? And he just turns into like a regular, normal talking person.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny. There's a little bit of comedy in it. Just a touch. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
That was I'll call that my favorite scene.
Any random notes?
Other than... I kind of said everything, but I would have loved to see the plot of Dracula turning Lucy, in this case, Anna, into a vampire. Because the original story is she turns into a vampire and starts attacking kids. And then the men have to take her out, save her soul, because she's a vampire. And that would have been a good, that would have not made the focus just always on Ellen. We would have had other people who had, like, lives at stake that they had to do something for.
This movie could have used a second vampire to show the threat of Nosferatu, because he hadn't turned anybody. So there was nothing. There was, other than, Yeah, he hadn't turned anybody. So
and the difference, another difference is this Nosferatu, when he bites you, he kills. Dracula, when he bites you, you turn into a vampire. So he changed that in this.
I guess he has the ability to turn some people into vampires because the gypsies was killing somebody out in the forest, but he just didn't choose to turn these people into vampires.
Maybe that was just a natural born vampire.
And then he had the other coffin. So I think he has the ability, but they didn't touch on that at all.
And I would have liked the wives in this.
And I think that if Anna had been turned into a vampire, that would have gotten Frederick on their side faster.
Oh, yeah.
Because he would have had proof.
Yeah.
He would have had proof that there was something otherworldly.
Right. He still would have lost his wife, which he did anyway, but at least
he saved his daughters, man.
Help. That scene was heartbreaking.
He just let them all go, which is crazy. My random note, Chekhov's daughters. Earlier in the film, when we were first introduced to the twin daughters and they're putting them to bed, the girls don't want to go to bed because they say there's a boogeyman under their bed haunting them at night. And I knew that was going to come back.
Okay, I didn't catch that.
That's exactly how they ended up dying. While they went to go to bed, Nosferatu came and ate them.
And I actually thought when she heard her kids screaming, it was just him playing with her head. No.
Yeah, I knew it.
He killed the kids.
Yeah.
That was pretty tragic.
Aspect ratio changes quite a bit. It goes from widescreen to like 4:3.
Okay.
I'm not sure why.
I didn't notice it as much.
I noticed that like twice.
Okay.
I like that she got to stay with friends, Ellen.
Yes.
Because back then you didn't have like
a hotel,
social media, or a hotel,
right?
Or a way to keep in touch with people from long distances.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah.
He was going to be gone for 6 weeks. He didn't want her to be by herself, so she got to stay with friends.
That was nice.
I thought that was fun.
Although Frederick was like, "Here, this chick go."
I know.
But Anna was her.
He probably hates to see her coming.
Anna was her true friend, and she was very happy for her to stay.
The chest bites was different.
Yeah, so that's another change. Dracula normally goes for the neck. He changed it to go for the chest to have it be more sensual.
I didn't like that.
Yeah, it was more sensual.
Don't bite my bones.
Sensual.
I didn't like the chest biting. The Demeter, I had a guess, which I guess was right.
Yep,
it was fast tracked the Demeter.
It was the voyage of the Demeter.
So I guess you didn't need a whole movie for that.
Nope.
I like that he played by the rules and contracts and deeds. He's a monster, but he's not an animal.
He's a man of formalities.
He doesn't go around just slashing throats. I mean, sometimes, but
sticks to the rules.
He only kills people after warning.
Okay. I don't think that's still.
And he won't take you unless you agree to it.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that he was civil. I thought that was an interesting characteristic of the character.
He wasn't a savage until it was time.
Yeah. Oh, and my last note is that I knew the Hair Knock was evil from the beginning. I knew that he was turned.
I didn't call it. So Thomas Boss is basically Renfield, but when we first see him, he's just a regular old looking man. And then maybe about 10 minutes into it,
he doesn't make it another scene.
Listen, the next time we see him, he is butt naked in a circle with some witchcraft vampire stuff written on the floor, tweaking a pledge and allegiance to Orlok. And it's like, oh, you sent that man up knowing what was about to happen.
I thought they were going to cut away before he bit the head off that pigeon. He did not.
That's original.
Gross.
Renfield is known to bite pigeons.
Did not need to see him bite the head off that pigeon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I knew after the first meeting with him and he started obsessing with Ellen's looks, I was like,
I just thought he was being a weird, creepy old man. But
that sounds like rhetoric.
He turned full psychotic cult follower.
Yeah, and he hammed it up. Like so they have him in prison. He's like writing runes on the wall and poo.
What's the funny part is he actually wasn't in prison. He was in the hospital. And Seaver goes, because the guy comes up, nurse or whatever, comes up and says, I had to put him in the cellar because he was acting crazy. And Severus was kind of like, we don't do that here. We're not a prison. Then he went downstairs like,
yeah, he needs to be in here.
Lock him up.
And then he killed one of the orderlies, bit his neck off.
Yeah, he was crazy.
Was running through. I think he lived. No, he died. So when Willem Dafoe kills him,
yes,
and finishes
because he was sitting in a coffin and they thought it was going to be Dracula.
So for some reason,
yeah,
and I don't think Dracula put him there because it doesn't seem like Dracula would tell him to get in my coffin. I think he was just
a crazy follower.
So yeah, Aronnax is sleeping in Dracula's coffin while he's away.
Right.
I would have loved to see Dracula go back to his coffin and find him in there.
What are you doing? Move.
But they thought they were going to land a killing blow on him.
Yeah.
They ended up killing Aronnax instead. He doesn't seem too upset about it. And Willem Dafoe follows up with the alley-oop and finishes him. So Aronnax did not make it to see the credits.
He didn't need to.
All right, our rating.
You go first while I contemplate.
I will give this a 4.5.
Okay.
I liked everything about the film except for I think it left a little bit more than I wanted to interpretation, but I think that was deliberate.
Okay.
So I don't think that was a failure. I just wanted more background on Lily Rose Depp's character.
Okay.
Where she got her powers from, what the connection was, and what the disconnect was between when she made the contract when she was a kid and when she got married. Yeah. I just wanted some more pieces in between there.
Okay. I'm going to give it a 4.
Okay.
I'm taking a whole one off because the central plot of the story is a woman who is innocent and a gross vampire who is obsessed with her, and the only way out of it is she got to give up her life. And it's like, but she ain't do nothing. Yeah. So, and there's not some sort of kind of like mystical element of like she's a god and she returns back to the girl just dead. No. So that was my big thing. I actually like the original story of Dracula now that I've read it up better. So I would have liked that. So maybe I just need to go watch Francis Ford Coppola's and that'll satisfy me.
I would have taken off an extra point for the ending because but I did not know that was the original ending. Yeah. So that's fine. I would have preferred the Dracula ending, but now that I know that is an ending that exists and it's not like
it's a remake.
It's not him making an artistic choice. Fine.
No, he stayed. It seemed like he mixed the two source materials, which is cool. He didn't do like page for page, line for line.
He definitely nailed the tone.
Yeah. We agree on that. Edgar's got that right. Yeah. So I haven't seen any other movies. This doesn't encourage me to watch them.
You would enjoy the only one I think you would enjoy is the Northman. Okay. Because that is an action epic.
Okay. Okay. I will say when other things of his come out, I would be more encouraged to check those out.
Let me see. Who else is in the Northman? Because I feel like there's multiple people in the Northman that you like.
Anna and
Ethan Hawke, Anya Taylor-Joy, Willem Dafoe, and Nicole Kidman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I might check that one out.
And it's about it's Norse. So
I remember when that came out. It just kind of came and went.
Think like Thor instead of Greek. This is more like Thor and Odin. Okay. In them. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. All right. I think that wraps up our review for Nosferatu. Check it out. It's good. I think a theater visit is worth it because you get the visuals. You get the sound effects. Yeah. All the blood sucking and killing, you can hear it in the theater. Yeah. And you got to experience. I mean, it's a gross movie, but it's a vampire movie, y'all. It's not gonna be clean cut.
Very, very rare occasions these days we get packed theaters. We had a packed house.
We did.
We were elbow to elbow.
We did. This came number 2 behind Mufasa. Yeah. Christmas Day.
I would probably get this physical.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I would add this to my physical.
I would recommend this to anybody who is a horror. Even though I don't think it's scary, it is a good horror film. Yeah. I would say that.
This is Dracula, and I've already said I like Dracula stuff. This is my favorite type of Dracula story, but it fits. So I would add it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. What are we watching next week?
Nothing.
Nope.
No.
We are having our first annual Vaguely Nerdy Awards. Woo. And we're not doing no cheesy stuff like Best Picture, Best Score. No, you can watch the Oscars for that. Right. We will have some very fun, kooky, crazy, unique categories. I don't know how many categories. We're just going to be running them off at the back.
And we're only going by films that we've reviewed on the episode.
Correct. Yes. Unless it's like, I don't know, some crazy category like Best Film we ain't seen.
So, unfortunately, Moana will not be in competition.
There's going to be several movies not in competition. So, yes, we're only going to go review the movies that we've seen. But, I mean, we've got 52 movies that we've seen, so we got a lot to pick from. Enough. Okay, right?
And
right.
series.
Right. So that'll be our next episode, and make sure you tune in next week.
All right. Thanks for listening. If you like our show, please share it. You can leave us a review on Apple Podcast or on our website, vaguelynerdypodcast.com. You can also leave us a voice message, which we will play on the show if it's nice. If it's not nice, you're going to hear from Cheryl about it.
Absolutely. On all social media channels.
You can follow us on Threads and IG at Vaguely Nerdy Podcast, Blue Sky, and Twitter at Vaguely Nerdy Pod. You can reach us at vaguelynerdypodcast@gmail.com for email. And if you're listening to us on a podcast app, but you want to view us, you can watch our animated format podcast on our YouTube channel, Vaguely Nerdy Podcast.
Jay look like Vampire in Brooklyn.
I do. I look like Eddie Murphy.
You should definitely go to YouTube and check that out.
Yes.
Until next week.
Bye.
Bye.